Hello and welcome to DCN Weekly, your regular roundup of Australia's shipping, ports and logistics news. This episode is for the week ending 5th of September 2025. I'm Lindsay Reid, publisher at DCN.
And I'm David Sexton, senior journalist at DCN.
And we're recording this week from Gladstone, where we've been attending the BizOps conference. David, they've packed a lot into a couple of days, huh?
Yes, for sure. I don't think there's much they've left out. We've heard panels and presentations on everything from safety to port optimisation, decarbonisation and, of course, AI.
Yes, the Ports Australia team has done a great job pulling this together. I had a quick chat with CEO Mike Gallacher earlier today about what sets BizOps apart, and this is what he had to say.
I suppose the big one with us is we bring all of those areas of expertise from across the port maritime supply chain. Get people from the environment, people who are involved in port security, cyber security, the master mariners who are involved in the safe movement of ships to and from our port. We bring them all together in one place at one time, but we also put a program together that actually has something for each of them. So even though you may not be the guy who's responsible for cyber security, where we all are, but you hear presentations from people who put it in terms that everyone, the environmental people, the people involved in all aspects across the organisation, engineering and asset management, all get something out.
And as well as hearing from experts within the ports community, it was fascinating to get insights from organisations outside of the sector. Matthew Michaelwitz, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Complexica gave a really insightful overview of AI. So here's what Mike had to say about him.
That's the beauty of this conference is we're not inward looking. We look for people outside of our sector who normally or ordinarily wouldn't intersect, but may have some synergies with us to say to them, can you come and tell a story about where it fits in with us? It's about broadening the knowledge of the challenges of the supply chain. And what we're seeing now with the logistics supply chain under the new leadership of that group is we want it to go broader than just the port gate.
Lindsay also spoke with One Stop's CEO following the Women in Ports breakfast this morning.
I did indeed. It was great catching up with Sam. She hosted the Women in Ports panel discussion and encouraged the audience to share their own stories about fostering diversity in the workplace. So here's a little part of our chat. Well, Sam Askin, CEO at One Stop, welcome. First time in Gladstone?
Thanks for having me. And yes, first time in Gladstone. People have been lovely and it's been a really great event.
It has, hasn't it? It's been fantastic. And one of the highlights was this morning's Women in Ports breakfast and panel session that you hosted. And it was really well attended.
To see so many people show up for breakfast was terrific. It's great to know that people are engaging in conversations around diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also shared some examples of things that you do at One Stop. Can you just take us through a couple of those and what sort of changes you've noticed that's brought to your business?
So I think a couple of the ones that have made, I guess, the biggest difference is we've brought in me time. Me time is really allocated time that people get to go and look after themselves. And they book it in like you'd book in normal leave. And we've found that provides them with some flexibility and brings some good work-life balance into what they do. We also, I'm a real advocate of the working from anywhere that we have. So we allow that for 2 months of the year. And all I can say is our productivity numbers are up based on it. Our retention numbers are very strong. So you can really see the benefits. Actually, I think there's been a lot of conversation in Australia about this lately. There's been some reports that have come out, whether you read the Australian or the Financial Review, that say, 4-day work weeks can promote productivity gains as well in the workplace. So from my perspective, it's really about being open-minded to what's going on. The reports are there, the data's there to really back some of these, and for workplaces to see how they can incorporate some or all of it to give good benefits for their employees.
And of course, One Stop is also sponsoring the Women in Shipping and Maritime Logistics Award at the DCN Awards this year. So I asked Sam how important it is to her and to One Stop to support this award.
I think that it's always important for us as an industry to be supporting diversity in all shapes and sizes. And I think that by having these conversations, we keep these things top of mind. And sometimes we can become complacent. And I think these types of discussions make sure that not only are we sharing new ideas, but what we're also doing is looking to improve everybody's life. So we're very happy to support DCN as well in the awards, because what we're trying to say is we'll all be better off as an industry with not only diversity, but a really well-formed way of working within that area.
Yes, and a quick reminder, nominations for the awards close on 24 September this year.
Yep, that's only 3 weeks away, so get cracking and submit your nominations at dcnawards.com.au. And now, moving on to this week's headlines. David, we've had more drug busts in the news, but this time some concerning reports around trusted insiders. Can you tell us more?
Yes, indeed. A task force had been set up back in April, and it all came to a head last Sunday, 31 August. A 38-year-old forklift driver from Hillsdale was observed moving containers to access a specific box, which was later found to contain 506 blocks of cocaine. The masked investigators moved in and arrested the man, along with a 25-year-old alleged accomplice from Oyster Bay, as he exited the container. There's more detail on our website, but suffice to say this alleged attempt has been foiled and the matter is before the courts.
Yes, a positive outcome, but concerning for the industry. We spoke to Scott Carson at IFCABAR, who told us IFCABAR members receive periodic updates from ABF on how to assist in the detection of illegal imports into Australia and are encouraged to report suspicious behaviour and documentation to ABF through initiatives such as Border Watch. And moving on, Spirit of Tasmania has been back in the news, this time due to an ABC report revealing efforts to find interim employment for Spirit 4.
Yes, we learned this week that TT Lines sought short-term charter opportunities to defray costs, everything from a summer ferry in Germany to floating accommodation in California to housing Ukrainian refugees in Scotland. These options were eventually abandoned and the vessel finally arrived in Hobart on 23 August.
Yes, and you can read the full details on our website. And next up in liner shipping news, MSC's newly announced Eagle service has revised its schedule to now include Wellington. It was always the plan to add a second NZ export call, and Wellington got the nod thanks to its connections with MSC's Wallaby and Noumea shuttle services. Full details of the revised schedule are in Dale Crisp's article on our website. And finally, this week marked the International Day for the Merchant Navy, David.
That's right. September 3 is Merchant Navy Day and memorial services were held around Australia to honour civilian seafarers who served in wartime. It also coincides with Australian National Flag Day, the only day of the year when the Australian Red Ensign, flown by merchant ships, can also be flown on land.
Yes, such an important day to remember those who served in the Merchant Navy. Well, that's our wrap for the week. You can find all these stories and plenty more of them at thedcn.com.au. And don't forget to get in touch with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, tips and tip-offs at editorial@thedcn.com.au.
We'll be back next week, but in the meantime, you can get the daily headlines through the DCN Newswire. If you're not signed up yet, head to the site.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next week.